Welcome to The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 1% Tribe tonight. Hopefully you guys are in good spirits. I know I got a lot of Michigan crowd. So tonight the Detroit Lions are playing Kansas City Chiefs. So
welcome to The Prize
Inside. How this goes. I won't keep us very long and tonight it kind of works out, right? So this is one, it'll be a little shorter just because a lot of times when it's motion, right? And it's in the physical aspect, a lot of it's going to be a lot of YouTube. There's not going to be as many, here's a bunch of slides. You got to take notes on a couple points. For some reason, my Rumble access is off and we're trying to figure out like why that's occurring. Something happened with, I think, Rumble and the streaming service I use. So that is off currently, but I will be putting it back on. If you can, what's nice about Rumble is I can just upload the video in and then we can do it. It's just not live, which is okay. But I really like the Rumble being live because it works out good. So with that said, tonight, let's go over posture power, natural correcting that neck hump. Okay. So the neck hump we're going to talk about because it comes up in chiropractic offices all the time. And a lot of times there's a lot of good successes actually that you can get from this, but you have to understand it and really, really go from there, right? So one of the things that happens with this is people come in thinking it's some kind of easy fix, easy process to go through. And the problem is just like exercise to physically change your body, the neck hump situation is another one of those that you're asking to physically change your body. And with that comes a bigger commitment than a lot of times our brains are ready to do. So tonight we'll go over a few of those things. I found some really good videos. Funniest part is there's always the person that thinks that you can just pop the neck vertebrae back into non-humping, right? And it's called the Dowager's hump. That's what they call it. And I'll give you a little definition of that first. But just remember, there's no such thing as like where you just put it back like that. Okay. So chiropractic is a big part of it, which we'll talk about tonight as well. So before we start, I want to make sure that you get on subscribing so you have all these videos to jumping on our Rumble channel. I'll put that in the comments. That's called The Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey. If you look on Rumble, YouTube, we got a new one. The Prize Inside You is now what our YouTube channel is called, which is cool. It's the same channel, but you'll see that usually has no problem flowing, but they had a censorship issue and I was talking health stuff. So we wanted to make sure we could have a Rumble option. I still like Rumble a lot. We'll figure out that situation. And then my final one that I love, as we go, I'm going to put my latest podcast. This is what our Whole Health Weekly we do on Wednesday night. And that one is on podcast. You look up The Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey. You can find it on Spotify, Spotify, iTunes, all those kind of things as well. So those are good. And then one last thing, if you want to subscribe and know when I'm going live, which is typically Sunday and Wednesday night, I have this. It's called Substack. It's like an email list that we can put lots of different things. We can put the videos. You can put articles, really cool articles. Very, very cool site. And you just get on there and I'll shoot you an email, and then any kind of relevant new, information that I find, I'll try to make sure you guys get the article on there. So with that said, let's start talking about this neck hump thing. Everybody's talked about it in their lives. They just don't want to talk about it all the time. So this is the posture power, naturally correcting your neck hump, your neck hump. I always laugh about that, but it gets people understanding what we're talking about. Dowager's hump isn't exactly a key word that everybody be like, ooh, what's that? So what are we going to talk about tonight? Let's understand what happens when you get this neck hump. Some various solutions we can do to ultimately improve it. And then understanding the commitment it actually takes to truly improve it. Okay. So here's the definition of the dowager's hump or the neck hump. It's medically known as kyphosis, or what they call hyperkyphosis, where it's an excessive outward curvature of the upper spine. So think of your spine as going in different directions, right? We have like a neck curve that goes back to bring your head over your shoulder, or your ears over your shoulders. And then you got this thoracic curve that kind of pulls you forward. And then you have a lumbar curve that kicks you back as well. This is an excessive amount of that upper back in the thoracic spine, pushing you forward, making it look uncomfortable. And typically, if you have one of these, it's very good idea in life and health to really change it. And you'll see why. So it's an excessive outward curvature of the upper spine, typically in the thoracic spine, leading to a noticeable hump at the base of the neck or upper back. It's often associated, and this is just the medical definition, right? It's also often associated with aging, particularly in menopausal women, due to factors like osteoporosis, which causes vertebral compression fractures and degenerative disc disease. Other causes include poor posture, spine deformities like scoliosis, or certain medical conditions as Sherman's disease. Sherman's disease is kind of we won't go totally into that one, but sometimes the vertebrae don't form when a person's born as well. They don't get their disc height isn't as good. Let's just leave it at that at this point, because it's kind of deep, but not terrible. It's something that people can function with, but it makes mechanics of the spine weird. Symptoms may include back pain, stiffness, or discomfort, and in severe cases, it can affect your mobility or breathing. The term dowager historically refers to an elderly widow, reflecting its prevalence in older populations. Treatment options range from physical therapy, posture correction, to medications, or in severe cases, surgery. Thank goodness I haven't seen many of those kind of cases, but most of the time they never throw the chiropractic thing in there, which is probably the best move out of all of these, but I digress. Okay. So let's look at some movement. So I told you we're going to be looking at, we're going to do, let me get this queued up here. So what we're going to do is go looking through some good exercises that I really, really liked. And I think it's this one first. So I'm going to show it to you in just a sec. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Get you through all those. Okay. So we're going to skip to this one is pretty good. And I'm hoping most of you will recognize it from many, many years of me talking about this. So we'll walk through this and then my podcast will go into it. So this guy is bringing his arms over his head. Okay. Where he is actually pinching his shoulder blades tight together. So he's creating a Y with his arms, like YMCA, with your thumbs kind of backwards. I like the thumbs backwards. And you're pinching your shoulder blades together as tight as you can. And then as you do that, you're going to draw. And then as you do that for several breaths. And then you bring down these elbows. And then you bring down these elbows as you're pinching your shoulder blades together and trying to keep your head, your ears over your shoulders. Okay. So then what you can do is then drive those elbows to your rib cage. And then you're going to create the L like we did with you want to live longer. He doesn't go into each one individually, but then he actually rotates his shoulders back and forth. Okay. So that one's pretty good. Let me see. Let me go. So typically, let me unshare that real quick. Did that unshare? Okay, cool. So what you want to do is, like, as you're doing that, the biggest exercise you want to do is start to retracting those shoulder blades. A lot of people try to bring their head back, and that's true too. But where your shoulders go, your head is going to go. Okay. So you must get these shoulders back and in a good alignment. Now, as we do this, you're going to feel differences on each shoulder. Our motion, let me get rid of this just for a second. Our shoulder motion in our world currently is terrible. We don't do enough things out there that allow us to have great shoulder motions. We don't move them. Those kind of things. We need big circles, little circles. Posture, because here's the thing about the dowager's hump. The reason it occurs, one of the many that we're talking about tonight, is that our shoulders are weak and they're imbalanced. So when we have weak and we get these shoulders that are weak and imbalanced, many times they'll start rolling forward, allowing your body to start rolling forward and making it the easiest position. And one of the problems we have is that we want to fix this stuff without doing the work. We have to get really strong shoulders. We have to start doing these things that allow those shoulders. I tell people all the time, if I had to give up I had to give up all weightlifting in my life, except for 2 workouts. I would want, and I would request that the 2 workouts would be my legs, the leg day, and shoulder day. Shoulder day, because it's so profound in what it can do. And the reason that neck hump is so significant is because of what it does to the condition of your body. We can't open up and breathe correctly. If we can't open up and breathe correctly, how are we getting our physiology going in the right direction? If we can't open up and really get this breath going, right? And trust me, all of us have this situation, just smaller, humps than others, right? And what some people it's more pronounced just because based on your body style. But a lot of times we need to focus on these kind of exercises. So if you remember back, I have a couple videos on you want to live longer is this stretch that you bring your arms up. This is the Y in the YMCA. The W, you're pinching it back. And then you got a T, you're going way out. You want 2, right? And then you drive one of your elbows into your side, and then you're still pinching that shoulder blade back. So that's the live. And then you bring this one back longer. Okay. And then he added one that I really liked where you rotate your arms in those L positions. Okay. Oh, You can almost feel yourself instantly breathe on that one. So just wanted to throw that one out there because it's so good. Okay, so it's one that if this is a condition that you really want to do something, this is an everyday thing. We have to also understand tonight is also about everyday movement patterns. Okay, every single day. We don't want to skip these things. And if once you find a good one, you're gonna keep adding it to your stuff. Okay, so let's go back into this guy. I think I'm doing it right. Okay. Okay. So let's go. This one's pretty good as well. You just grab your wrists, pull your arms behind you, and you bring your head back. These are things we can do, right, in our daily lives during the day and just sit and really start understanding and letting that be a relaxation point for you. So, so that one's a fantastic one. He does some really good ones, actually. This guy got like 34 million views on this, which is crazy because it's like you know, I thought it was a small clinic thing, but you can see this next one I really like where you're just getting your arms on above your head and turning your head back and forth. Okay. Super simple. One arm going back. That's a really good angle there. Okay. Okay. So you can see with that guy, it's very, very good in just a couple different motion patterns that allow your body to open up. Now, I'm going to say something now, and we'll talk about it more. One of the biggest things that will happen that'll make this journey much, much better is consistent chiropractic care, making sure that the spine and the joints of your body are working properly while you do these. Okay. The problem with Dowager's hump, and it always will be, is that the key one causation is not osteoporosis, it's our lifestyle. It's our computers, our phones, all of these things that create our head to kind of go forward in a forward posture. Once we understand that, once it's happened, how many years? So think about this. I brought this up the other day. When somebody comes in and they say they've had chronic low back pain for 2 years, one of the things I really like to give them an idea of is like chronic low back for 2 years straight with no, all hurting every day that time. In chiropractic, that could be potentially, let's say, 24 visits. If you have one visit a month, that'll tell you something, right? So if you've had this Dowager's hump for several years, that's a lot of visits you're thinking about out in your head. You're like, whoa, that's overwhelming. But to really make lasting change, like something like this, you have to sit down and go, okay, am I committed to doing these things, right? So a chiropractic adjustment plus daily exercises could reduce your time for sure, right? And those daily exercises leads into exercise where you're doing really, weightlifting with shoulders and legs and, all the alls, right? Getting your core balanced with weightlifting and getting stronger. That'll add another additional way to get you further. But you have to understand it's a whole package deal. You have to do the work. 12 visits for 3 weeks is not going to get it done. Physical therapy is the same thing. 12 visits for 3 weeks, they ain't going to get you there, especially if you're not doing anything outside of there, right? That's the biggest problem we have, especially with this one. We hear a lot of people want somebody to just pop that thing back in, and then that's how the spine works. But it's a postural distortion. A postural distortion is what happens over time. That's why you see it in my little old ladies. And we're going to talk about a couple different things that some of you, give me a thumbs up if you've seen some significant Dowager's humps in my little old ladies. And I'll give you some holistic tips on nutritional reasons that actually could happen as well. The ones that are extreme. A lot of the ones I get are kind of just beginning posture and they don't like how it looks in a dress or a shirt, those kind of things. And they're legit reasons. So remember that. Okay. So now let me go and find you another good one. I like this little short one. Let me see if I'm sharing. Nope. Okay. Let me bring this back. Stop. Okay. So this one's a quick one. Let's see if I share my screen again. Okay. So this guy is showing just a simple using a wall in your house method. So this is pretty cool. So you can see hers. So let's talk about this lady here in this video. You can see how her shoulders are kind of rolled forward, right? Well, one of the problems that we'll always have is a lot of times the hump starts because our shoulders get rolled forward, not because our neck is getting forward. It's because of those shoulders. So though, for those that are on a podcast, when you have your arms feeling like they're rolling forward, like those guys in bench press, if they did too much bench press and they feel like their arms are forward because their pecs are tight, many times that's the beginning of a lot of problems in your upper back area. Okay, so once we have that forward shoulder motion, you start opening yourself up to a world of things, and the dowager's hump or the neck hump is one of those. So what this guy's going to do is going to actually have you go against the wall. You're just going to put your back against the wall. And then he's going to make you put your chin into the wall like a railroad. And then he's using a kind of a unique way doing that, where you come up, roll. I really like that rolling, and it pulls your shoulder blades back to the proper position. So let's stop her where I want it, right there. So this is something we could do, right? Putting our arms against the wall doesn't seem like that tough, but it's something that we're losing over time. So like as she's doing that, if I have my whole body against that wall and those shoulder blades are touching the wall with our arms, that is a great morning routine that you can do. Just getting against the wall in your house, if this is becoming a thing that you want to get rid of, right? So there's that one. Okay. So let's stop sharing for a minute. Okay. So there's that. So you have this where you go against the wall. So we'll do it for my podcast audience. So you put your whole body against the wall. So your back is against the wall. Your head is touching. So the back of your head is touching and your chin's kind of tucked. Okay. So once that happens, he is taking your hands, touching the wall and making a circle to kind of get your arms back and those shoulder blades back to touching the surface of the wall. And then getting into that position and keep moving that. The motion of your shoulder blades will get it going. Okay. The motion of your shoulder blades. If you start understanding how to constantly move those shoulder blades, getting the rest of it to come along with the ride could be really, really good and easy to do. Okay. All right. So let me look for the next one. Oh, I'll do this one. She was pretty good. We've already done that exercise. Okay. So I'm going to show you one that we can just do as kind of like a yoga situation. It's kind of a nice yoga stretch, kind of going in. And so I want to show you that one as well. So this lady is going to do, I can't remember the yoga pose, but this is one of the ones that you can do. So, but it's a really good in breathing as well. So you're trying to get your shoulders as far back as you can, moving up, moving down, keeping that arms and the neck and the shoulders together between. And you're just coming down and doing like little circles, or like what she just did, coming forward all the way up and then around. So making big giant circles as we go. Okay. So there's one. This is another really good one. So we did that one. So now we're going to use this. What she's got in her hand right now is a towel, just a wrapped up towel with some tape. Okay. You don't need any kind of roller balls or roller tubes. They're pretty cheap to get anyway. So I would suggest doing that. But with that, she's going to just lay on it. Okay. So then we're going to do the same motion we did in the air, but we're going to do it on the floor. Okay. So what she's doing currently is just kind of laying there, letting the breaths kind of take it there, kind of feeling what it feels like to have those shoulder blades back like that. And then she's just going to raise her hands above, doing the same thing. And you'll be shocked at how some of these ones are so easy, but they're so amazing at the same time. Okay. Now we're going to go on to, now we're going to have her, now she's on her back with no towel. Okay. So now she's going to do the same thing with those shoulders, but we're going to just drive those elbows down like we did in the air. And you're just moving them back and forth, up and down. You're trying to get the motion of your shoulder blades back to where there should be. Okay. So that's very simple. So you're just laying on your back with your arms at kind of like an L, with your thumbs kind of towards your head, right? And we're just laying on the ground and allowing the shoulder blades to move properly, because this is how the spine is. What's nice about when you lay on the ground, you can feel what normal is supposed to feel like, right? Normal, that'll give you a good baseline. Okay. And then this is the final one on her exercise video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this stuff. So what we're going to do, she's going to take them all. She's going to take her hands like she's doing an airplane, but her elbows are bent, put her thumbs up in the air, and then rotate her shoulders back with her shoulder blades pinched. So you come out, make an airplane, up, thumbs up. Okay. So constantly doing that. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. That one's a really, really good one. Okay. Okay. Good job. Now, why did we focus again on shoulders? Because that's where the work is. There's this area, they create this, it's a posture, it's almost like what they call a posture zone. So your head and your upper back thoracic area is going to be one of your upper zones. If you can kind of think in that terms, see how it's all functioning for you. Is that the place where you have like chiropractic problems? These are some ideas for you, even if they're not, you don't have the neck hump or anything else. Eventually, if we could do all these motions in the proper way, we actually get the motion that we need to throughout a day. You got to remember, nature never thought that we would sit on our butt for 8 hours a day and stare at a computer screen or watch TV while sitting on a couch, right? They thought we were going to go to bed when it got dark, and we were going to hunt and gather our food. So we'd be using these shoulders, right? And now we're into a lot of things, and there's a lot of inventions that allowed us to not use our arms as much as we probably should. And one of the downsides of that whole situation is that it caused us to have major shoulder things. So many people have some kind of shoulder mechanical issue that causes so many different things. I can give you a story of a patient of mine. It happens to this is a fascinating story. We were at a dinner, and it was a father of a big family. He was sitting across from me, and we were talking, and his kids kind of went to a different chiropractor. It was no big deal. Great family, all those things. So he knows I'm a chiropractor, so he's kind of poking at my knowledge a little bit. So we're eating dinner, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I got to take my kid to U of M tomorrow," which is around here. It's like going to Mayo Clinic or something. It's University of Michigan. I was like, "What for?" He's like, "Headaches. He's got major headaches." And I'm like, "Oh man, that sucks." He's been trying the chiropractic thing for a while. I'm like, "Yeah." And usually it's nice to be the second chiropractor because you see it different. You see if there's some piece to it, you may catch it real quick, right? So as he's talking, I'm like, so he's this guy, he's like, it's weird. He can go all day and no problem. The moment he starts soccer, playing soccer in his thing, it's immediate, has massive headache and he can't move. He's just out. So he hasn't been able to play soccer, but he hasn't had any major injuries, right? So as I'm talking to him, I'm like, okay, so the chiropractor adjusts his neck, his back. Oh yeah, all that stuff. That's interesting. I was like, I bet you it's his shoulder. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, in chiropractic, a lot of times we can adjust the shoulder. So you can do the mechanics of the shoulder in several different ways. There's lots of different techniques for that, but it's something to look at especially if the spine isn't clearing it of the problem. So I was like, tell the chiropractor to look at a shoulder. Well, the next thing I know, the dad had started bringing the child to me, just to get the second opinion. Well, of course, I'm like immediately feeling, and his neck feels pretty good. And, he needs the normal wear and tear kind of adjustments that all of us kind of need, like little things, nothing that would cause a severe headache. You're going, oh dear, that kind of thing. But the shoulder was a wreck. His shoulder blade wasn't moving properly, his collarbone, all those things. So we worked on those for a few visits actually, and headaches cleared. It was pretty amazing. It's because of the mechanics of the whole thing. Remember that 98% of your shoulder muscles attach in your neck somewhere. It's that, yeah, you have to get that stuff, reevaluated. So a lot of times, just looking at all these different things is going to help you out so tremendously. And for me, the Dowager's Hump is very concerning because of the lack of oxygenation. If you're starting to get it, you're not getting those big, deep breaths. Women have, bigger chests. And so they have that forward posture already. Why are we not doing shoulder work, right? We have to start doing that shoulder work to get to that area. Okay. All right. So I think I've shown you enough videos. Hopefully those are helpful for you guys too. So let's go on to the next portion. So we are going to do some nutrition stuff tonight. So we're going to do herbal nutrition, right? Which we always do, right? We got to think any type of condition, which is not really thing. We want to get you from dis-ease to ease, right? We want to ease the body. How are we going to do that? Making a strong foundation, making a strong shoulder core. That's going to make us less able to get the dis-ease of this neck hump. Okay. So how would we do this? What we're going to do is muscle build. So here's what I would do. I would make sure that if you got this Dowager's hump, the neck hump, I would start weightlifting. How are you gonna weight lift with, no muscle system? So you want to start eating clean with lean meats, turkey, fish, salmon, eggs, anything, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, a lot of good things out there for protein sources, right? You want to aim for, at least 2 grams of protein or more a day per kilogram of body weight, actually. So 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So that's a lot of meat. Okay. So just remember that this is, we want to start building you, right? Complex carbs, which are your sweet potatoes, energy for the workouts, right? So remember how this works. Protein is for the muscle building, muscle repair. When you start weightlifting, any kind of weightlifting, any kind of anaerobics, it's going to break down muscle. When it breaks down muscle, then we have to start repairing that muscle. The way to repair it is give it the the building blocks, which is the proteins. Okay. Then you go into the complex carbs. So a lot of times the complex carbs are your fruits, veggies, all those kind of things. I try to stay away from the grainy stuff, but they do have a lot of good complex carbs in there. So whole grains like brown rice, oats, quinoa. I can never say that one. Sweet potatoes, yams, fruits, bananas, and berries. That's really good, right? So sprouted grains, buckwheat, things that are good. You understand complex carbs. Okay. The other one to add is healthy fats. Now, for healthy fats, we want our shoulders good too. So healthy fats really are big. So avocados, nuts, almonds and walnuts, seeds like chia and flax, olive oil, and fatty fish. So those are really, really good. The biggest thing is just understanding when you're doing this the healthy fats, you'll do really, really good if your gut health is right. So make sure your gut microbiome, we've gone into that discussion many times. We have a program at the office just for that. And then here's some micronutrients that we should think about when we start talking, and we're going to go after this neck hump. Magnesium, which is found in spinach, kale, pumpkin seeds, right? Anything dark green, you're going to get some good magnesium. Zinc. Zinc is a supplement. Oysters, pumpkin seeds, lentils. That's pretty good. Vitamin D. We know how this works. Sun exposure, fortified foods, some mushrooms, which is kind of interesting. Antioxidants like berries, dark leafy greens, turmeric, all those kind of things will help get that inflammation out of there, because a lot of with the neck hump leads to a lot of chronic pain, in the shoulders, or chronic pain in the upper back, the neck, the headaches, all of it. It comes from a lot of this upper back management. If we're able to get this shoulders thing going, it'll be really, really good for us. Hydration. We want to do plenty of hydration. Okay. We know all that. Whole foods, gut health. We know all those. Okay. So one more thing on the herbs though. What we want to make sure is if we start muscle building, we want an adaptogen like an ashwagandha, because it helps with stress reduction and it helps with some natural creatine, which you're going to get in red meat anyway, but that's a good one for performance. But you want to consult before a creatine, you want to consult somebody before you start taking that. Okay. All right. Here we go. So the next portion we're going to do, and I'll leave it at this because I like to add all of the things, right? So we want to do all of the things. And each one will help you in the understanding of where this hump comes from. Why are you just distraught from this hump? Remember that a lot of it's going to be physical and the stresses that we put on our body physically. So the traumas of the day, computer and sitting for, 8 hours a day is a trauma. Okay. It's not a car accident, but it is way worse than that. It's micro traumas, and it's really easy to sit for a long period of time. So the next one that we're talking about tonight is the emotional piece. So the emotional piece is something, remember we talk about this with the subconscious, right? The subconscious always has ways of carrying the emotion, because these are things that can cause disease, right? Thoughts can do this as well. So I'm going to bring these up, and remember to forget about what the emotion is that causes it. That's what gets people in trouble. We'll hear it and we'll be like, oh, that could be true, right? But we're not going to hang our hat on that or link our bodies to that and say, oh, it must be must be something wrong with me, right? We don't want that. We just want the mantra. And so what we're going to talk about is, because there's no direct link to neck hump, like, oh, your neck hump, this means, whatever. It in the upper thoracic area, though, it's also the nervous system to your heart. Okay. So what does God do? He gives you exactly what you're thinking, right? If we take care of our heart. Oh, I forgot I was going to tell you about the nutrition stuff. Okay. The different other philosophies or holistic, but we'll get into that after we do this mental piece, and then I'll go to that. Okay. So the mental aspect, or the from Louise Hay, who has, it's called Heal Your Body. It's a fantastic book. We're going to look at the upper back pain. Why is there upper back pain? That's the one, or this hump in that area. Well, that area of the spine is also the nervous system, so that your heart and the associated area, right? T2, T1, the upper thoracic, a lot of hearts kind of symbolization there. So this is what she says from her book, Heal Your Body. The probable cause is a lack of emotional support, feeling unloved, or holding in anger and resentment. Remember, we don't care about that. We're trying to get rid of that old thought, crappy pattern, right? Don't care. All right, that's cool. Now, the new thought pattern. This is the ticket. Ready? So this area, the new thought pattern. I love and approve of myself. Life supports and loves me. I love and approve of myself. Life supports and loves me. So why it fits is in this area, it's T2 is energetically linked to the heart chakra, love and emotions. So the upper back pain here signals withheld feelings and feelings unsupported in relationships. Repeat while gently massaging the area. Isn't that cool? So you can actually add that too. So you're saying, I love and approve of myself, and life supports and loves me. Isn't that cool? I love that. Now there's another one. Here's another one that kind of links to the thought pattern. So this is the probable cause. Resisting the flow of life. Seeing life as a threatening and frightening, leading to a hunched protective posture. So that's an interesting one. See, we don't know what the subconscious is doing. I don't expect you to know every subconscious thought that throws your health into disease, right? But that's the journey. We're going to find it. Okay. So this is the new thought pattern with this threatening and frightening in life. Life is for me, and I trust it. I stand tall in love and approval of myself. I stand tall in love with approval of myself. Life is for me, and I trust it. So that is pretty cool. I think that's the last one. Okay, so that's a pretty cool scenario as you go through Louise Hay's Heal Your Body, super old book. Love that thing. Can't wait to do more trading on all kinds of those kind of situations in there too. So what I was going to end with is some of the stuff when I do my muscle testing, or some of the holistic testing we do at the office. So we have this muscle testing technique that I do on many people out there. But one of the things that I learned from the guy that taught me, his name was Dr. Versendaal. Dr. Versendaal was up in Holland, Michigan. He was fantastic. And what he would do is help. I kind of call his, it's called CRA, which is contact reflex analysis. This technique is something where you use a muscle testing, which is muscle being weak or strong. And you actually kind of essentially go through all the acupuncture points of your body. And he found so many points linked to other points that it's able to kind of get down and deduce what points are where in its effect. And I absolutely adore it. I don't push it on everybody because, it is what it is. But some people are open to it and they like the information it gives. So if you ever have that, just let me know. But the big thing is one of the things he said about the Dowager's hump that I want to bring to our attention. The nervous system in that area goes to the heart. Women have a different bone structure than men. because of muscle tissue typically. So we think it's because of heavier muscle density that our bones are denser. So guys that have denser bones. One of the reasons you see that in elderly women, the dowager's hump, that gets super bad. I remember Dr. Geimer had a lady. Whew, it was rough watching. But when you get into that situation where there's osteoporosis and the bones are actually brittle and breaking away, what it's showing you is that their body. Have you ever noticed that women do not have as many heart attacks? And if they do have heart attacks, it's wholly different. One of the reasons that is assumed in our holistic, this is not like scientific data, but we believe that the women are able to take calcium. Let's say the heart. So no matter what, your body's going to take things from the other parts of your body that it needs if it needs it. So if your heart and your brain are priority number one, and your body needs calcium, then your heart, right? Your heart will take the calcium wherever it can get it. And in women, the upper thoracic bones are right there. So why not just leach the upper thoracic bones? By doing that, you cause osteoporosis. Okay. So a lot of times, in my opinion, and I start a lot of my ladies on some things without saying anything because I don't want you to panic too much. If there's osteoporosis present, it's a potential heart problem in women, especially, or it's a potential saying, hey, my heart, I hate to say problem. Don't say problem. I scratch that. Your heart is asking for calcium and it needs it. So it's going to take it because the heart is more important than the bone, right? So what that tells you is like, maybe I need to do some blood work or something to find out what my good levels are, right? Because I'm not a huge fan of over calcifying or taking way too much calcium. I think we do that now. I am a big fan of vitamin D, K2, magnesium, all these different ones, and making sure, and a little bit of calcium to make sure that all of those things are there. And the B vitamins for your heart, CoQ10. There's a lot of good heart supplementation out there if you have a worry about osteoporosis. We should actually do, a bunch of multivitamin, heart vitamins for the heart. So I always thought that was fantastic, thinking that way, because that way you can understand, because all of us had that little old lady that was super bent over, based on that and all, as you age and your grandma was like that, you're like, man, I don't want to be like that. And that's the tough part, right? So what I would suggest to people is take a lot. If the dowager's hump's there, we did all of our cool different exercises, right? We know kind of what our nutrition is, but also look at heart nutrition, making sure that all of the heart stuff is good, because not only neurologically is it showing you where the chiropractic problem is, it's also showing you what the organ that may need more supplementation. Doesn't mean you have a heart problem, just means that, hey, it's giving you a warning sign, right? So I always thought I wanted to end on that one. The other thing, the biggest thing, is commit into the chiropractic. Chiropractic can do wonders for this kind of condition. The problem is impatience. Most people think, they're just coming in for a painful condition. And what you really need to do is stick with a long time. It takes a while to get there with proper exercise, all those different things. You can really reverse a lot of things. And so with that, remember those things. I apologize again for my Rumble fans. Sucks sometimes the technology part, but with that said, I appreciate you all hanging out with me. And I couldn't get a lot of comments, I think, because something's going on as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you Wednesday night with not as many technical issues on Whole Health Weekly. All right. So enjoy the Tigers Kansas City Chiefs game. I'm very nervous. All right. You guys have a great night.